When my guests today enter a village, there's wonderful rejoicing. What do? Stay tuned and we'll reveal how volunteers are impacting whole villages and keeping children from dying. Hello and welcome to this episode of Better Life Today. I think you're really going to enjoy my special guests today. I have with me here Angie and Gary Bartholomew, and they're involved in a wonderful ministry where you're bringing water to people in need. But before we get started, could you share a story with us about your experience with the ministry?
Let me tell you about the first well that we drilled. We wanted to serve an orphanage and a school, about 700 people. We drilled the well. The pumps were running in the river.
Okay.
We wanted to get them away from the river water because it was causing serious problems. Did the plumbing in the well house because they are on grid power, didn't have to be a hand pump. We were short a couple fittings. Well, it would take a few days to get those from Guatemala City, and so we thought, well, we just put it on the list. That afternoon, we went up to the shop and we're just sorting out some old bins of fittings. And there, old fittings, we found this valve and the union that we needed and went down and put it in. That evening, our son who was involved and his wife were at supper over at the orphanage, and they said, the water's off. What would it take to start that well? Rod said, it's done. We just have to turn the breaker on. And another thing, the transformers blew up on the river wells. It seemed like it was a sign from God. The river water quit. We had everything in place, turned the breaker on, and they had water that was safe.
And I would assume that these are pretty specialized parts, that it's not, one size fits all.
Yes, that's right.
It wasn't just randomly, well, sure, we have lots of parts that are going to work for
We
that.
knew it was a miracle to find those parts, first of all, and then when transformers quit down at the river pumps, wow, the Lord brought it together, flipped the breaker, and they've been on that ever since.
And so this was kind of your introduction to this ministry. This
That's
is one of your
right.
early experiences.
That was 15 years ago.
Okay. And you had mentioned that the water, you were trying to get them away from the surface water. Why is that?
There's no sanitation facilities to speak of in the country, and so all the surface water is contaminated, whether it's rivers or streams or whatever. And we see people drawing water out of ponds, and there's cattle walking in the other side of the pond drinking that same water. It means death is what it means.
Wow. And I remember I did a trip to India, and I remember just that. We were having baptisms in the river, and just upstream, there were people washing their clothes.
Yes.
There were animals out in the water, and you're kind of nervous about even getting close to the water, but everybody, all the locals were out playing in the water. It's like they don't even think twice about the sanitary needs or dangers.
You don't dare drink it.
Of that.
Yeah.
So what drew you into this ministry? What connected you to Water for Life?
Well, we had been doing some projects down there in that country and at the orphanage, and we found out, they're like everyone else. They're using surface water. And worldwide, it's a critical thing. There's millions that die, and there's over 1 billion that don't have access to safe water. And so it's a thing when you might have diarrhea and you need more water, you don't dare give them water because it will kill them for sure. And so the little tykes, the 5-year-old or less, they're the ones most vulnerable because they haven't built up an immunity, and so most of it is children that are dying.
So it's affecting I have three boys,
Yes.
and the picture, we take for granted the safety of our water.
We do take it for granted, and we don't realize that 85% of the world's hospital beds are filled with people because of lack of water or waterborne diseases.
So why don't we hear about this more? I mean, we hear about all the other things. I don't often.
I don't know, but there's thousands that die every day, and we wouldn't put up with that if an airplane crashed and that many people died. But it's something that we can help, and so this is our part to help.
All right. Well, then tell me, who is Water for Life?
We're all unpaid volunteers and well drillers and pump technicians, and we have a desire in our hearts to go help people, and we've been sending well drills down there, the old cable tool type, bang, 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 churn drills, and so that's what Water for Life is, and it's a platform to share the gospel. And
so is that your primary mission? Is it the sharing of the gospel? Is it what exactly? How would you put your primary mission?
The two together, because once we drill a well in a village, we have a really good relationship with that village, and that's a perfect time to give out Spanish Bibles to those that can read, or to follow up with a VBS or evangelistic work in that village. Those people are destitute, and they're happy to know there's a better place coming.
And so you're meeting a need,
Yes.
an extreme need,
Yes.
a physical need, and then you're combining that with spiritual
That's right.
assistance as
That's
well.
right.
So why Guatemala?
Oh, Angie could answer that.
Well, the Lord leads in very interesting ways
Sure
in our
does.
lives. In 1985, we adopted a little girl from Guatemala. I went down and got that little girl. And then in 1997, my uncle, who was working for International Children's Care, is where we drilled one of the first orphanages, he invited us to go down. And I was not able to go and see where she had come from. And this was the orphanage she had come from.
Okay.
So I went down with them to just see the orphanage and see where she had come from. And we just started doing small things for the orphanage and for the school. And then we realized that these two places were still drinking out of the river and drinking contaminated water, which of course brought a lot of sickness to the school and to the orphanage. So our son and his wife, they raised money to drill a well within the country with a local driller. And he told us we had lots and lots of water. We went down and Gary and Rod tested the well, and it was contaminated water. And we had to decommission that well.
And this was the new well that you had just drilled.
The new well we had just drilled.
Okay.
And Gary said, I grew up a well driller. I think if I could get a well drill down here, I could get clean water. So we went home and they put a small ad in the drilling journal. And one night, on Friday night at 10 o'clock, I'm not awake at Friday night at 10 o'clock, our phone rang and the man from Oregon here asked if he could donate a cable tool well drill to our project. And that began what Water for Life is today. The Lord just provided for us to be able to send that drill to Guatemala, and that was the very beginning.
And what does that look like? I mean, it sounds easy. We found a drill and we sent it to Guatemala. What does that look like?
Well, it takes several months, and I knew it was bigger than I was, so I asked my brother to be involved and a couple other people to be involved and help out. And yes, we found an agent that would ship it for us from Houston, because we had a friend that said, hey, I'll truck it to Houston. So that was a huge gift right there. And then we got it into Guatemala, and that rig is still working. That's from Stadley's here in Silverton, Oregon.
Okay.
And that rig is still down there drilling, and thanks to Stadley's for being the starters.
Right. So now I'm picturing the well drillers I see. It's a mobile drilling platform. It's a truck with equipment on the back. This is not like that then.
Well, it's similar to that. This was an old 1954 military truck, you
Okay.
know, and it's old technology. And it just pounds its way down, you know, like a chisel, and you add water. So it chisels the rock or whatever's there and makes a mud, and then you bail the mud out. So it's very slow.
So
Takes a
this
week or
isn't
two.
like we had to put a well in at our first property, and they were done in a day.
Oh, yeah.
This is not like that.
No, this takes a week or two, but it gives us a good relationship with the villagers.
So the villagers help out in the process.
Oh, they're always there watching, and we involve them however we can to clear the area, to bring water for drilling, all different things. We involve them as much as we can.
Are there any other stories? I love stories. You know,
Oh.
we all like to hear how God is moving in our lives and in other people's lives. What's another story you'd like to share about your experiences?
We just this last winter, it's been a winter drilling season for us, January, February, March, and a little bit into April, because our volunteers are busy in their own business.
Okay.
And they can't go other times a year. That's changing, by the way, but this last winter, we drilled a well, and the engine quit on the well drill. The driller wanted to bail it some more and clean up the water, so it wasn't quite clean. So we thought, well, we'll pump it, and we pumped it for 2 hours at 23 gallons a minute. That's a lot of water. That's a lot of water.
That seems like an awful lot of water.
He said that water never hit the ground. The villagers were there with their buckets and any containers they had to catch that precious water and take it to their little shacks.
Now, they had water before. Why was this so impactful?
They had surface water.
Okay, so
had
it was
surface
the
water.
cleanliness as well?
Yes, and where we drill, mortality drops, and they know that because we've been there
So
several
the
years
word
now.
is out. So okay.
They want us to come, and so it just impressed me that that water never hit the ground. They were there filling one bucket after another, taking it back to their shack.
So is there a waiting list? How do you decide what village to visit next?
We never quite catch up with all those that would like a well, and we work closely with the government health ministry because they know the most critical areas too that really need a well.
So the government's involved as well. They're seeing the value in what you're doing in their communities.
It's a health ministry that covers all that northern area of Guatemala, and that's where we work, the remote villages. Yeah.
Very good. Well, we need to take a short break. I hope you stay with us because we have a lot more to share with you. Thank you.
Better Life Broadcasting is a viewer-supported Christian media ministry that offers streaming programming via apps on various devices. Please visit blbn.org to support Better Life or to get more information. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome back to Better Life Today. We've been visiting with Gary and Angie Bartholomew about the wonderful ministry you're involved in, Water for Life. And you were just telling me during the break about how this all started. You had gone to an orphanage, you saw a need for some water there. The well had failed, is that correct? And so you made arrangements for this new drilling platform to come down there. And that turned into a ministry because you had the equipment.
We found ourselves, well, we have this well drill, and we're through now with the project, the orphanage and school, and maybe we ought to help out in the villages.
That, to me, that is exactly how God works. I look back at my life and how, I'm just going to do this. You know, I'm asked to serve here, and then I'll be done. You know, I'll sit back in my pew, and I'll enjoy hearing stories about how other people are doing something for Jesus. But it plants a seed when we say yes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So when you're on these trips down to Guatemala, what do you do, Angie?
Well, we have 4 apartments down there for our volunteers. We have a shop, and they come and go 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and so I kind of end up being the hotel maid. I, take care of the apartments, and then, on campus, we're on a secondary campus, and there's students that I'm able to interact with and help, and keeps me busy. It's never dull. I tell our volunteers, you need to be real flexible.
Sure, sure. So you're basically the hospitality coordinator.
I guess
for
that
the
sounds
ministry,
nicer.
It sounds like, yeah. And so
Yes.
you get to engage with the locals there. And are you involved? Are there Bible studies going on? What are the other things you're involved in while you're there at the campus?
There are students that they're called industrial students, and they
Okay.
work for their education. They spend 2 years working, and then they can go to school full time. And they don't have a lot of just necessities that they need, and so I and several other ladies buy them, their toiletries and things that they might need. That's a fun part of what I do.
So even beyond providing the water, you're providing and supporting other needs as well.
We do planning for evangelism or a branch Sabbath school or vacation Bible school, that type of thing. But we aren't versed enough in Spanish, just basic stuff.
Okay.
And so we have people that come down from the States to do that, or we hire Bible workers there in the country to do that, to share the gospel. Those people are just hungry to know
So
about
this
God's
is
grace.
This is an opportunity for volunteers, not just the well drillers who
Oh,
are
yes.
coming down to help you drill.
Certainly.
Within the communities, there are
Yes.
also people coming down to provide evangelism.
We do dental work
Okay.
and medical work in the villages. This is like with a temporary dental chair, and we have all that equipment down there. And so if someone wants to pull a lot of teeth, that's a perfect place to go. They've got teeth that are hurting them and they need to come out.
Right.
And they're grateful for that.
Well, very good. It's amazing how God takes, again, that seed and just sprouts it in ways we never, ever would have expected.
Yeah.
So are there any other recent developments you'd like to share about your ministry?
Oh boy, there's some neat things happening. The Lord is growing this, and there's just no question about it. We've kind of had a dream years ahead that maybe someday we would get a small rotary well drill down there because they're faster.
Okay, and so how does a rotary driller compare with the cable drillers?
Okay, instead of just pound, 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 it's rotary, just like your cordless drill or
Okay.
your electric drill, and you're just drilling in the ground, and it's very rapid. So we have, last winter we got a refurbished small rotary well drill down there. Instead of taking a week or two to drill a well, in the first 8 days of running that rig, we drilled 6 wells.
6 wells.
6 wells.
And how long would it have taken you to drill those
Well,
6
that
wells
would
with the
take
other equipment?
8 or 10 weeks with one cable tool. Now we have 3 cable tool rigs down there.
So they're still working.
They're still working, and there's a place for those, but the people that run those are getting as old as I am. And so we got to think of something else. And this simple rotary well drill is easily maintained, like the cable tool rigs. We cover a lot of ground, and then we come back and we set the hand pump in the village, or the solar pump, whatever's appropriate, or the submersible electric pump, whatever's appropriate. And so we're still in contact a lot with those villagers.
Now, I know when we had to put a well in, we had to test it every year and make sure it wasn't contaminated. Is that a process that you guys follow as
We
well?
haven't been doing it every year, but we do have it tested at a lab. We drink it. Oh boy.
And you're here.
Yes, I'm here today. Yeah, sometimes it's interesting. Sometimes you drill a well and you finish, and the hand pump starts pumping out this water, and then the people in the village kind of look around, well, what do we do now? When we take that water and drink it, they just can't stop. They dive right in, and pretty soon they're throwing water at each other and having water fights, and it's a happy day.
I just picture, I've had water that's not the best,
Yeah.
I know our well, we had to treat it because it had iron, it had manganese in it, didn't smell all that great, so we filtered it.
Yeah.
These people that you're serving, the river water probably isn't, it can tell the difference, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And
For sure.
just what an experience that would be as they take that first taste of crystal clear water that maybe they've never had before.
That's right. And mortality drops where we work. I can't emphasize that enough.
What a blessing. Now, you had also mentioned Bible workers. Did
Yes.
you? I understand that there's some training going on as well for the Bible workers.
Oh, the neat thing is, now with the Rotary especially, we're drilling more and more wells, and we aren't keeping up with sharing the good news of the gospel. There's a Bible training school going in just 3 hours from us, a little less than 3 hours, and they're going to train Bible workers, and they need a place for their students to do a practicum.
Okay.
And we've got the perfect place because we're drilling wells where the villagers know who we are and we'll introduce them. They're our friends. They've been on our Water for Life board, and they will have people. They're even building us a satellite shop in that area because
Really?
they said one of the rigs we want to have right here and start really working around this area. So that's exciting to us. That rotary rig, that will attract a lot more drillers because a lot of drillers don't know how to drill with the old cable tool. And the Bible school, which will share the good news of the gospel right behind us.
Right. So in the past, you kind of have worked together through the process. You'd go to a new community,
Yes.
and you'd have your Bible workers there. But now, if I'm hearing you right, now you're drilling so quickly, you're moving on more quickly.
We don't have enough Bible work.
until you don't have enough Bible workers.
We can't keep up.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
God has a plan.
He does.
Absolutely.
He does. It's just, like I said before, when we drill a well, we have a close relationship. We're so spoiled in this country. We flush our toilets with drinking water, you know?
sure do.
And we take for granted that nice, pure water. That's a blessing.
It really is a blessing, and unless you're familiar with the needs of the rest of the world, again, we take it for granted.
Yeah.
I was watching your video earlier on your website, and afterward I went and I took a drink of water, and it was a different experience for me than it was previously,
Yeah.
because you're mindful of that blessing that you have.
Yeah.
So you're very dependent on your volunteers. It sounds like part of what you're moving toward is being able to train people locally
Yes.
to do a lot of the drilling.
That's another very important thing. We've just trained Edgar. Edgar has been our mechanic. We want to keep one person doing our mechanical work because then he gets acquainted with the different rigs.
Sure.
And he's a trained mechanic. He's a very good welder. He's very quick to learn. And he's been with us on these drills and showed an interest. We sent him to Nicaragua. There's a training school there. And they said, boy, we've trained a lot of people, but Edgar is right at the top. Edgar's about ready to start drilling on his own.
Oh, very good.
And so pretty soon we'll be drilling around the calendar.
Because
not just-
what you were saying was that you have this, 3 months or so when the
Yes.
volunteers come down.
Yes, yeah, we hit it hard then. Now we will be able to train Edgar further and help him through the tough spots and things like that. And it's going to be another blessing because we will be training people in the country. That's a good way to go, and that will ensure Water for Life keeps working because we'll keep training younger people, and just this will continue growing.
But there still will be a need for volunteers to be coming down.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you're very reliant. So what keeps a volunteer coming back?
Oh, what keeps a volunteer coming back is this. When a mother comes and says, thank you for the well last year, this is the first year we've lost none of our babies.
Oh.
That's what keeps volunteers coming back.
You know, when I met you the first time, it was back in Kentucky at ASI.
Okay.
And I mentioned that we had a neighbor when we were living in Graham, Washington,
Yes.
that was a well driller. Because as soon it planted a seed, oh, well, maybe my friend might be somebody who could help out. Yeah. And I mentioned the name. It was John Hansen. And you were already familiar with John.
John is engaged 100% in Water for Life. They supervise the project when Angie and I come home. We take it the first couple months each winter, and then they take it the last couple months each winter. And they've given their hearts. Wonderful people, wonderful people. Another thing, when the water starts pumping in a village, if you're a volunteer down there and you see the excitement and you see the scurry, you'll come back again, because you know how valuable it is to those villagers, and they just, volunteers can't turn it down again. Right. They just keep going back. They like that.
Well, and I love projects like yours that engage people here locally, and it awakens something in us when we're able to give.
It's good for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what, if there's anybody interested in joining your project, what kind of qualifications do they need?
Like Angie said earlier, they need to be flexible. They may say, oh, I'm going to go down and I'm going to drill. Well, maybe we've already got all the drillers we need. Maybe we need to pour a sidewalk, or maybe we need to paint or something. Be flexible. And they'll still get to get out on the well drills. You know, I had a dentist contact me a while back, and he says, I'm a dentist. I'd like to go help in Guatemala. I said, good. I said, we do dental work in the villages. He says, I don't want to do dental work. I want to shovel mud. I says, come along.
Very good. Very good.
We've got room for people that want to help in all kinds of ways, whether it's translating Spanish, English, whether it's painting, whether it's, you know, going out and driving one of the trucks to help the driller or help the pump technician. There's lots of things to do.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and visiting with us. I am so encouraged that we have folks that are looking for ways to engage with God's people. Folks, if you'd like to contact our friends, please contact Gary and Angie Bartholomew, Post Office Box 2330, Deer Park, Washington 99006. Their phone number is 208-907-0010. Thank you for watching this episode of Better Life Today. We'll see you next time.